topic of the day is Odell Beckham. He's fine, but he needs to calm down. I'm a fan of Odell Beckham. I am a fan of him. And you can go back. You can go back several shows right before he was drafted. I wanted the Chargers to get him and Jarvis Landry. I knew Odell Beckham was going to go in the first round. And I knew Jarvis, though he shouldn't have been, I knew he was going to go a few rounds later. I wanted Chargers. We needed wide receivers. We could have had both. But I wasn't in the war room to draft him. But I did say it on my show. So there's that. I called it. But Odell, he's been under scrutiny ever since that famous one-handed catch that rose him to stardom. He's been under scrutiny. He's a superstar now. And everything he does is going to be watched. But his trip to Miami during the week of the wild card playoff game, then punching a hole in a wall outside the visiting locker room and supposedly pounding his head against in the locker room, against the lockers after the playoff loss to Green Bay Packers on Sunday. I don't want to. He doesn't have. It's hard to put. I'm not saying this as just a fan, but I don't believe he has mental issues. Right? I'm not going to go on that far extreme, but I will say he does have some things that he definitely needs to deal with. And New York Giants punter Brad Wing talked to New York Post about Odell Beckham needing to calm down. Wing and Beckham, they've been friends since they were both teammates at LSU. He said, quote, "He's always cared about what the youth think about him, the younger generation. And I know I always want to be the best role model for them." He does, excuse me. And he understands things like that are not helping him in that way. He understands he just has a lot of passion. And me and him are both learning how to harness that in a positive direction, end quote. Now, Beckham's alleged outburst was a culmination of season incidents that have resulted in several things. He's been fined at least 6 times for infractions, including, which, excessive celebration, I don't count that. Players should be allowed to celebrate. But he's had unsportsmanlike conduct, verbal abuse to an official, and a uniform violation. He also drew his attention for his interactions with kicking the damn kicking net thing for several weeks. And photos of Beckham and his Giants teammates on that Miami boat, drew criticism. And it allowed criticism for the example of lack of focus. And on Monday, quarterback Eli Manning said Beckham has got to back it up, end quote, if he continues to draw attention to himself with his behavior on and off the field. And see, here was my thing, and I don't think I put this correctly last week when I was talking about Odell Beckham's trip to Miami. My thing was, when you do something like that, and I did say that if he struggled and the Giants lost that game, it was going to become a big story. And it was going to follow him all off season long until week 1 of 2017. It's going to be there. It's always going to be there. And he allowed it. Because, for whatever reason, whether your problem was him and the teammates going off to Miami the week of a playoff game against a team they've already lost to, and a team that was hot, and they're visiting them in Green Bay. Was the problem taking a picture and posing on social media? Or was it them just going to Miami? What if there was no picture? Of course, we later would have found out by somebody or tweeting or whatever. But we would have found out. Would that have been a problem? Or was it the photo? But it allowed the criticism to say, well, he's not focused. What is he doing? Why is he out there? Why didn't he wait until the offseason to go out in Miami? I get it. Players need to relax, but this was a big game, and it happened on a Monday before, and I know people want to bring up excuses. There's no excuse for him to be allowed to have an excuse of, well, he's young, right, and all this. No. You got to understand this, especially being at the stardom that he's at and the resources he now has with former players and coaches and everybody trying to mentor him in the right direction. There's no excuse to go out and do that. There wasn't. And, of course, he's going to get majority of the blame over Sterling Shepard, Roger Lewis, and Victor Cruz. I don't know if Cruz went. I think Cruz went. It doesn't matter. He's going to get it because he is the star. He is the face of the franchise almost and just about. So Beckham, he is okay, but he needs to calm down and he needs to really take this seriously. He needs to basically grow up, which is hard to say. It's hard to tell him that because I am a fan of Beckham. I truly am. But he has to, because if not, he can easily be on that borderline of what we start seeing with a Johnny Manziel, where they can't handle success. They start doing a few things wrong and off the cliff they go. I think Odell he's far enough away from it, but it seems like sometimes he can be so close. He can be. I think it's going to be fine. Sometimes I think media is overreacting and makes the story a little bit bigger than what it really is. So that's where I'm trying to be lenient on and trying to lean towards that. But at the same time, Beckham, and I agree completely with Eli Manning, which I never thought I'd say, but Beckham has to back it up on and off the field if he's going to continue to draw attention to himself. If he's going to continue to do this and have the lifestyle that he wants or is doing, that he has, then he needs to back it up. And I get in that football field in Lambeau, catching a football in 4-degree weather compared to 45, 50 degrees, it's completely different. That thing's a rock. I understand that. And I get it's a tough environment, but when you do something like that, you allow all of it to flow right on in for the media. You've opened up a wave for them to do that. You've got to fix it. Beckham, I think he will.